First of all, I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm the goal of this call is really just to share inspiration and feedback to the other community of it's mostly business owners and executives who have say small to medium sized organizations. The first kind of question is kind of what kind of goals do you have right now in your company, or where are you focused on with your time and energy, whether that be business or personal?
Well, business-wise, I'm focused on designing and building room additions. That's what we specialize in. I spent 25 years with a hammer. Before that, I'm 70 now. I'm not going to retire soon because I enjoy the job too much. But by the time I was 18, I was raised in Florida. My dad and I built three of the houses we lived in, so that's where I gained the love and respect and the know-how in this business. And then I moved up here when I was 18 and was a carpenter for 25 years, which I designed and built room additions in. I do all the architectural. I'm not an architect, but I have a really good friend that is, so he looks over the drawings and signs them so they can get physically stamped, and off we go. So that's basically what my business goals are today, are to try to do as many jobs as I can because it changes people's lives, what I do. You know, I'll walk into someone's house and all of a sudden they have a new baby, they need more space, or the kitchen's too small, they want to make it bigger. So it changes the lifestyle of their homes, and I enjoy putting that together. Example, I just did a really big addition in Elk Grove Village that was about 30 by 20-ish, fireplace, bar, big family room, vaulted ceiling, an office, private office, and a bathroom. And that's where these people are going to live. You know, it's open to the kitchen. So I just enjoy doing that kind of thing. As far as my personal goals, I just strive to be as honest as I possibly can. I believe in God. I pray all the time. I also have couple of hobbies. I played sports. I played football for 20 years and played basketball a lot. I semi-professionally bass fish.
Yeah,
So
I saw that about you online. Do you have another little
yeah,
business doing that?
yeah, I do. I take people out that want to go out and experience bass fishing. So that keeps me pretty busy. And of course, I got a wife, so.
So that's awesome, and I think it's really cool when you can have meaning to your work. You know, when it gives you and you get meaning out of it. So it's really good. You're able to help these people with improving their homes.
You know, that's why I say I'm 70. I'm not even thinking about retiring. I'm having too much fun. Helping
What
people is fun. You know.
I like I like your attitude. I think I guess you spoke a little bit about your value. Next question I have, I guess, is around values, and you spoke a little bit about being as honest as you possibly can. And is
Yeah.
there specific values that you think have really helped and allowing you to grow your business? And it sounds like you've been in business for quite a few years now. Is there anything that
I have.
you would recommend for for new people starting out on?
Well, tough decisions are generally made either totally by yourself or with the client. So anytime it's a decision about their home, you need to get them involved in it. But just being forthright and honest is the best policy. I don't care, if you tell little white lies, they're going to catch up with you, and it just downgrades the quality of you as a person, and in this particular case, as a business person. And I just think it's the best policy to do that with everybody you deal with. I mean, the most important people to you are the people that actually work for you. Now, I use all 1099 subcontractors, and to me, they're like brothers and sisters. You got to treat them right and pay them right and expect good quality work out of them, and be honest with the clients. Everything else takes care of itself. There's too many contractors that, I shouldn't say too many, there's a few contractors that aren't honest with people, and that's why construction gets a bad name. But if you just have first of all, you got to know what you're doing, what you're talking about, how to do it. And since I used a hammer for 25 years and had such a great father to learn from, there's nothing I can't do, and that's important. I think people have a lot of confidence in you when you're like that, and it makes it pretty easy to sell the projects. The only thing that's hard selling them is sometimes it goes over and above the investment level they're thinking about, and that makes it hard to try to work it into that particular arrangement for them. So other than that, this business is great.
And have you found? So you said you work with mostly with all contractors. You said, have you found that it works better for your structure, or would you give advice to I guess other people in a similar industry of using employees versus contractors? Have you tried it either way, or do you have any experience with that?
Well, I've had a lot of experience with that. I grew up not wanting to work by the hour, and the whole industry, the way I put it together, and a lot of other builders do also, is based on piecework. I don't pay any of my people by the hour. They may pay their people by the hour, but they get a certain amount of dollars. For example, if an electrician puts an outlet in, he may get $30. That's for the box, pipe, and the wire. That's how all this pricing is structured and all the management structured. So the reason I structured it that way is because you only have to look at the quality of their work, not how long it takes them to do it, typically, because the faster they work, the more money they're going to make. So that's the reason I set it up that way. I also have a very unique business model, in that I become partners with the client. A lot of companies will, let's say they're going to build an addition on your house and the cost is $80,000. They'll ask for maybe $30,000 down. You don't have a clue where that money's going. It could be going to their vacation. It could be going to paying a job they didn't get to pay because they didn't make enough money. What I do is this. I charge them a management fee for managing the whole project, and the way they become partners is they actually have to pay all of the bills. So I don't pay any contractors at all. It's all run through them. I arrange for the payments and make sure they're insured and licensed and bonded, and make sure they pass their inspections before they're paid, but then they pay it directly. So they may write 15, 20 checks for a particular job, and they like that because it's really a transparent way to do business. They know what I'm making. They know what all the trades are making. If they happen to have someone that they want to use, like electrician friend or whatever, I'm open for that. The other major part of my business model is, let's say that $80,000 addition cost $55,000 to build, actually raw cost. Every dollar that I negotiate with the trades behind the scenes, the customer and I split it. So therefore, they have somebody working diligently to make the project cost them less because I share in 50% of the cost. So, and that, I started around 2008 when I saw the industry starting to tank a little bit. And it's been very successful. I'm glad I made that decision. I've had one person say, "You make too much money," showing it to them, being transparent with it. But I've had great experiences with it, and I like the way that the people like that and participate in it. So.
Wow, I've actually never heard of anyone running their business that way. Is that do you know of anyone else running their business that same way, or is this something that
I actually do not. I've talked to quite a few contractors about it, and I think they're afraid that the customer is going to see that you make anywhere from 30 to 60% on the dollars, and that's the way this industry is anyway. I mean, the difference is it's hidden. In my particular business model, it's transparent. So,
wow, really cool. I'm sure that's going to be really valuable for a lot of the members here. So I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Do you I guess I'm curious as to if there's specific resources or I guess places you like to learn from? I mean, in this industry, is there constantly changing regulations, and is there like certain books or conferences or websites or anything that you've really found really effective to try to stay on top of the newest information?
Well, I subscribe to a few of the builder magazines to kind of keep abreast as to the new products that are coming out and some of the new technology that they're using today. But I mean, once you've built a building or two or 10 or 100, you know, there's not a lot. I'm not going to say I can't learn anything. I learn something every day, but the basics of putting together, in my case, a room addition, it's from the ground up, and it hasn't changed other than a few of the resources used or some of the technology they have today. But yeah, you actually learn all the time. You know, adding a room onto an existing house is very much harder than building a new structure from the ground up, because you're generally attaching it to something that may not be level, it may not be plumb, there may not be enough electric to add the addition, there may not be enough heating and air, enough water. There's so many factors that go into it that maybe some people don't think about. But yeah, I learn all the time. I mean, it's limited because I've been in the business so long, but when something new comes out, I try to study it a little bit and figure out if it makes sense to use it.
So I guess are there any current challenges that you're facing, or maybe that you have faced in the past that you found solutions for, or anything that you think we could help out with other people in this industry with some of the biggest challenges, and how you've kind of overcame them?
Well, I have design down pretty well, and I've got the building process down pretty well, but there's two challenges in this business. One is getting good qualified leads. There are many lead sources available that you can actually pay for leads. Most of those leads are just plain no good. Internet's a good source to get leads because people always look on the internet today, their phone being probably the best resource they have. So you got to certainly be savvy in that respect. And what I mean by it is search engine optimization is real important in this business. There's a lot of competition. And if you don't rank on the first page with several keywords, then you're not going to get any business, because nobody's going to go to the second, the third, and the 10th page, generally. Anyway, the other thing that's typically an issue is finance. Some clients are savvy enough to know that they got to have equity in their home to borrow money, or they have to have money on hand to be able to do a project. And I don't think, probably I'd say 40 to 60% of the people don't really realize that until you start talking to them about it. To me, that's the most important thing before you ever make a phone call, is you have to have the resources to be able to develop, a new addition on your home. So those are probably the two main things, getting good qualified clients and making sure they've got the funds to do what they want to do with.
Okay, really interesting. And are there any specific big frustrations or pain points that you've noticed in your specific industry with the remodel? Is there some things that are really frustrating to you? Or
well, it's kind of frustrating to you're always chasing after subs, because first of all, a sub can't just work for one company. Typically one company can't keep 20 or 30 men busy, and that's what it takes to build a project like that. And what I mean by it is demolition, electrician, tile man, carpenter, plumber, all those trades. So cultivating that and keeping that is a challenge. But as I said earlier, if you treat them right, pay them right, and one of the keys to getting paid right, my trades get paid in 5 days, and the customer pays them. And that's something I tell them up front. the customer that they're going to get paid. We're going to pay these people in 5 days. That way we're going to get a lesser cost because they know their money's coming quicker, and they're going to be more in tune to trying to get it done quicker because they know their money's waiting there as soon as they get it done. So that's another challenge, keeping good people. You can only grow as good as your people are. I mean, I can sell jobs left and right, but if I don't have anybody to build them, then it doesn't do any good.
And have you found any resources or anything that's worked well for you to try to find these subs, or is there a specific strategy you go through, or what does that look like to build the relationship?
Yeah, well, it boils down to riding around looking at trucks and stopping on job sites and talking to people and go to suppliers. I mean, that's really probably the only way you can find people. I mean, typically you can't put an ad in the paper. They're not hunting for it. Another good source, too, is Facebook. Facebook has several contractor associations. There's one in Chicago that I don't advertise in it, but when I need some extra help, I'll put that in there, and generally I'll get a call or two. But, yeah, that's always going to be an issue because the more busy the industry is, obviously there's only so many people to go around. So it's always going to be a hard thing to keep good trades. But, again, the key is being honest and paying them good and paying them on time or ahead of time.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that is a big motive, especially in that industry. People don't get paid for that's pretty unheard of. I know to get paid that quickly. So
well, most contractors are tickled to death to be paid within 30 days. Some of them wait 60, some of them wait 90. I don't like that at all. Another thing too is one of the things I adapted years and years ago is I do everything that I possibly can to make the job easier for the contractor that's working for me, point in case. Typically, a contractor would say, send me the plans, I'll go out and look at the job. I said, you don't need to go look at the job. I've got 200 pictures, I'll send them to you. That's the job. Don't waste your gas, don't waste your time going out there, because most of these contractors work 10, 12 hours a day. Then they come home, and they got to figure out, oh, heck, how can I go estimate this job? I got to go look at it. It's going to take 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get home. I'll spend an hour there looking at it. So I do everything I possibly can to make sure they don't have to look at it. And another thing I do, too, is let's say I'm sending a project to an electrician. I'll send him the plans, shows what he's going to be doing. I also send him a scope of work showing him exactly what he's going to be doing, how many outlets he's got, how many switches he's got, and show him the numbers that I can pay for it, and then he looks at it, compares it to his numbers, done. So therefore, for somebody to put an estimate together takes them 10 minutes instead of an hour and a half. So people like working with people that make things easier for them. So that's one of the things I've always tried to do is that.
Do you can you think of any I guess if we could get help from anyone else in the community, is there any specific challenges or anything that's really preventing you from from I guess reaching your goals? You said earlier of doing more homes, or what do you kind of see as the bottleneck in your business right now as far as being able to grow and do more work?
Just good qualified leads with people that have money.
And what's your demographic? What service area do you service there?
Since I manage the jobs on a continual basis myself, I kind of limit it to within a 30-mile radius, and it's really not quite a radius because other than architectural, I don't do any jobs in Chicago. Reason being is because Chicago's too much traffic, too crowded. People steal from you. Building department's too hard to deal with. So I haven't worked in Chicago in many, many years. Occasionally I'll do a project or so, but as far as architectural, not a problem. I'll design anything that's in Chicago and somebody else can build it. But
yeah, I just want to thank you again for your time. I can tell you my biggest takeaways that I've noticed that you're doing different from everybody else is just the way that you've structured your business, being transparent, and making it a win-win for you and the the homeowner that you're working with when you save money. So that's really cool. I've never heard of that before. So. Um,
Well, that's our main goal, is to give them a quality project and make it as economical as it can be. The other thing that I'd input, not to be long-winded, but I think if somebody's going to go in this business as a beginner or just starting off, they need to make sure that they've either used the tools or they fully understand. Let's say if they're going to go in the room addition business, they need to fully understand from the ground up every component that goes in it and how it goes in order to sell it right, you know. And as I said before, people really have confidence in people that have good knowledge. So that's really one of the first keys, I would say, to going in this business, is having some kind of background or develop that background based on what you're trying to sell or build. Or
very, very insightful. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm sure it makes it a lot easier to sell, like you said, sell the project once, because I mean there's so many different steps involved, and if you've never did it, oh my gosh, I'm sure you make some mistakes.
Yeah, and I've often thought about taking a person or two and having a school, but I'm not sure there's enough money in it. You know, I know I could teach and show somebody coming up in the business what's good, what's not good, what to look for, what not to look for, that kind of stuff. But it'd have to be pretty expensive to them to gain that knowledge, because that would take a lot of time.
That's interesting. I'll mention that in the article as well. Maybe we'll see if anyone else is interested. It's really it's really
right.
It's really cool when you can contribute and give back, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, John, this is really, really helpful. Like I said, it'll probably be next week until I get this all ready to go. But I'll send it over to you and get your approval on it. And thanks so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'm glad to hear things are going well. And hope you catch some good fish.
All right, bud. Later.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Take care.